that the Senate do suspend Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan for 6 months for a total violation of the Senate Standing Rules 2023 as amended for bringing the presiding officer and the entire Nigerian Senate in general to public opprobrium. Those in support of prayer one say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Following the 6-month suspension slammed on Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan by the Senate, calls for the Senate President, His Excellency Senator Godswill Akpabio, to step aside or resign have intensified. It will be recalled that Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan's suspension followed the recommendation of the Senate Committee on Ethics and Privileges, which investigated her conduct in the Senate and allegations of sexual harassment against the Senate President.
Order, please.
Nice to speak from there. That is the order of the Senate.
Sir, order 10 on privileges.
Asha,
Any senator may rise at any time
can the
to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising,
and
he shall be prepared to move without notice. A motion declaring that the content of breach of privilege has been...
that allows suspension immediately.
You have deliberately silenced my voice and the voice of Kogi Central on this floor. You have denied me the right to contribute to motions. I have not been able to take the second reading of my numerous debates. So, Mr. Senate President.
The suspension in defiance of a court order restraining the Senate Committee on Ethics and Privileges from taking further action on the matter has ignited strident debate across a broad spectrum of the society. Should the Senate President resign or step down? As the tension generated by the matter continues to rage, Nigerians have weighed in on the matter. The Akpabio should step down protagonist argued that he cannot be a judge in his own case, given the weighty nature of the allegations against him by Akpoti-Uduaghan, who represents Kogi Central Senatorial District in the Senate.
Akpabio should just honorably step aside or resign as the Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for there to be fair hearing, for there to be a true judicial or quasi-judicial proceeding that will deal with the issue of Natasha's petition. I said it avowedly, I said it bluntly, that Akpabio can never be a judge in his own cause. Natasha will never get justice either before the Senate at the plenary sitting as a committee of the whole, or at the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petition. I said it that under Akpabio leadership of the Nigerian Senate, either as at the committee level or at the Senate as a whole in a committee, which is presided over by the Senate President himself, that Natasha was never going to get justice, because a man can never be a judge in his own cause. This is an elementary principle of natural justice and fair hearing. Akpabio cannot sit on this matter, or a chairman that has already shown bias, that is Senator Neda, who is the chairman of the Committee on Public Petition, that have declared Akpabio Natasha's petition dead on arrival, even without reading at the subject matter and the content of the petition. He declared it dead on arrival, already expressly exhibiting bias, cannot also sit on that matter. Both of them have to step aside, for there to be a truly independent panel that will look into Natasha's petition.
The right thing for him to have done on his own, without anybody even advising him, is to step aside. For crying out loud, for who set the Senate committee to look into the case, first of all? And who is the case against? Senate President. So when you have an accused being the one forming a committee to investigate his own case, it's as good as saying he's judging his own case. He's not going to yield any result. If the Senate President wants fair hearing and want judgment to be served from the Senate, I think the best thing for him to do for now with this accusation is to step aside honorably, pending when the hearing and the conclusion of this case is done. But for him to remain the Senate President and him forming a committee to investigate and judge the matter, it will yield no result.
That's the proper thing to do. You can't be in an office as high as being the third in command of an entire nation and expect that a probe will be properly carried out when you're in that office. We've seen cases where prime ministers of other countries were asked to step aside so that they can be properly probed, so that proper investigations will be carried out on certain allegations. That is the only way. That is the only way investigations can be carried out properly. But I think it's not a thing in Nigeria. And this also brings me to, we need to be properly educated on what our constitution states. And if need be, we need to check our constitution and rework them. We need a constitution that works.
Speaking to True Vision TV before the suspension was announced, Honorable Eseme Eyibo, Special Advisor to the Senate President on Media and Publicity, dismissed both the allegation and the call for his resignation.
Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan have taken blackmail on the subject matter of sexual harassment as a sport. When she was working with Brass LNG, she accused a minister of sexual harassment. She has accused the former governor of Kogi State, Ayabelo, of sexual harassment. She has accused Dino Malaya, Remo Mokri. So it's always at this time. So this is her height of march. The former Senate President, Senator Bukola Saraki, when he was the Senate President, he had a proceeding going on against him. He was charged. He was in the dock in the Code of Conduct Tribunal. From here, he will go there and comes back. In 2018, the same Senator Saraki was copiously mentioned by the police authority of complicity in the issue of our bank robbery. Did he step down to protect the institution? Why did he not step down? Why does he ask that Godswill Akpabio should step down on the basis of PSA and scandal? So in this case, his clamor for stepping down by Senator Godswill Akpabio sounds more or less to some of us that are going to equity with dirty hands. His hands are not clean.
Other Nigerians weigh in on the crisis.
So I think most who are saying are not experienced. If they were senators, I would have said maybe from their encounters and experience. The president has the capacity and is providing direction for the senators. He may not be perfect, but I think that to the best of his strength and agility and experience, he's doing that. So if senators do not find him worthy, I think the law is there for them to pass vote of no confidence or impeach him.
I wouldn't outrightly say that Senate President should step down or step aside as Senate President. It is not fair to him if at the end of the day they investigate and they find out that the whole case has just been a case of defamation against him. I would say that while he's not stepping down, while he remains Senate President, there should be no meddling into the Petitions and Ethics Committee's procedures in the case. His hands should stay clear of the whole process of investigating and the whole process of probing. He should remain Senate President, until it is discovered, or until it is ruled that he is on the wrong in this case. So there's nothing wrong with him being Senate President as long as he doesn't meddle into the procedures of the law.
Many have also faulted the manner of approach of Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan on the issue, stating that if there were underlying issues of sexual harassment before now, she should have spoken up.
Our beloved and respected sister, Senator Natasha, has overreacted. Why do I say she has overreacted? She is a distinguished senator. She knows the rules of the House. She knows where to express and extend her complaint. So I think she has overreacted because she would have explored the internal mechanism of the Senate before she can run to the outside. And it looks as if maybe the issue before the Senate is not even what is being on the emphasis, the issue of the sexual harassment. I think it's like building on what is not the foundation. The reaction is something that has to do with her presentation and the rules of the House. So if Mr. President, the Senate President says, can you order you? The rule says you have to be calm. And then even if there was issues, you can do that outside the sitting. So I think she has overreacted as a distinguished senator. So the matter before us is the way she felt the Senate President treated her when she was trying to express her opinion as a representative of her constituency in Kogi State.
The senator rather came out, started giving an accusation that me and you are not aware before. You understand? Why can't you say the very day that very thing happened? Why bring in the issues now? The senator from the Kogi side has gone extra mile by suing the Senate president. To me, that's not a case. I'm not sure anything will come out of it because I'm not seeing any evidence. Rather, is the public seeing any evidence?
For her to go to that extent, I believe there must be an underlying issue that maybe the society is not well informed.
As the tension generated by the disagreement shifts to several other fora, the question whether or not His Excellency Senator Godswill Akpabio should resign will continue to linger. The announcement of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan's suspension has led to protests by women groups carrying Akpabio must go placards. They were countered by pro-Akpabio protesters who milled around the entrance of the National Assembly in bizarre drama that many consider as distractions from other serious problems plaguing the country. While the gender component of the Akpabio-Natasha crisis is very high, fears are rife that the debate could abandon the fact and follow the dangerous fault lines of the Nigerian politics, where issues quickly degenerate to ethnic and other parochial considerations.
I feel like this case is something that needs to be looked into. Not just because of the credibility of the Senate, but because the respectability in the face of Nigerians. This House of Senate is gradually losing respect, and they don't even know it. They are not even realizing it. It is the Senate President, it is the number 3 citizen in the whole of the country that we are talking about. And we're talking about our leaders. This is a senator representing Kogi State Central. This is the Senate President we're talking about. So I feel like the Senate they shouldn't sweep this under the table. It should be something that needs to be looked into. It should be something that there should be investigation into it.
Rising stoutly in defense of the Senate President, the Ijaw Youth Network has condemned calls for the impeachment of the Senate President over Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan's allegation, saying that the call were sponsored by those they described as vested interests who are taking advantage of the present controversy to create instability in the Senate. For its part, the Arewa Consultative Forum has called for an independent investigation into the sexual allegation made by Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, urging the Senate to ensure a fair hearing for her and to uphold ethical standards. Similarly, the Pan-Yoruba Social Political Organization Afenifere has called on the Senate to investigate the allegation of sexual harassment leveled against the Senate President, saying that he should not be sacrificed on account of that which has not been investigated. Preaching moderation, a religious leader, the General Overseer of the Frontline Missionary Church in Ekom, Imam Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, Apostle Uyime Nkanta, has urged the Red Chambers to apply wisdom to quickly resolve the festering feud between the Senate President Godswill Akpabio and Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. He said the incident is not giving a good impression about Nigeria in the international arena. As the debate goes on, the big question is, should Akpabio resign? Let us know what you think in the comment section, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. We are True Vision, the platform that democratizes the media space. Follow us for more juicy reports. Till our next report, I am Ebere Anyebo.